Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Weisheidt, licensed clinical social worker with Terra One Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And you know, a lot of things that are very good in our community happen because people take their time and energy to make those things happen. I can tell you he'll never say that it's part of him, but it is. And so we welcome to the program Steve Crispino. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah. Well, I know. I do that. I like to embarrass my friends and colleagues over the years. But, you know, it's one of those things where I think very often over the last 10 or 15 years, when people think about La Petite, that's synonymous with certain people. Like when I did theater 20, 25, 30 years ago, there were certain people's names that were associated. Your name is associated with a lot of the good things that go on with La Petite, and we're just thankful.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's a passion. I didn't know I had it until I was about 40 or 45. I never would be on stage. I did lights, sound, backstage stuff, but once you get the bug, man, it's really tough. And, you know, but it's our entire board that I have to be thankful for all the things that have happened. And I'd like to give one special mention to, and I'm sure you know this person, Edwina Jakobczak.
Can't do it without her.
She's been on our board since 1955. On our board.
Say that again. She's been a board member at La Petite du Terrebonne.
1955. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so she's seen changes over the years that very few of us could even compare. But she's also seen all of the trials and tribulations of the theater and what they've gone through and the building and the challenges. And we should be very proud and happy that we're part of where we are right now with the theater.
Yeah, as you know, we went through a renovation a couple years ago, and it was after a 10-year process of trying to maintain funding. And you know, special thanks to our state delegation, our local, our parish president, and you know, Gordy Dove really helped me out at the time that we were doing construction. The parish council was very supportive, but a lot of it is just they wanted to make sure that downtown Houma. You know, we've been part of that downtown Houma for a long time, and they wanted to keep it downtown.
Right.
And we wanted to do affordable entertainment. I mean, a season ticket is $75 for 5 shows.
Yeah. You can't get that type of quality entertainment anywhere.
Right. And if you buy just a single ticket, it's $20.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it's affordable entertainment. We don't get paid anything when we act, when we direct, when we do anything. This is really just for the passion of theater and the arts.
And the love of theater. And quite frankly, you know, Ampico and I were fortunate enough to talk a little bit about the initiative that's 40 years old now. 1984 is when they started doing these downtown initiatives and downtown restoration. And La Petite has always been a very strong part of that and continues to be, which is so wonderful to be able to say. I've loved being part of the theater. How you do it at our age now, remembering lines, is the remarkable part. But it's just, and it's so very good that we are now having this wide range from Edwina Jakobczak to some of these younger people that we're seeing, you know, the Ellie Ramirez's and some of those people who in high school really just have enjoyed being a part of the theater. And Ellie's just, you know, as a relative, somebody that I think about. But we have all of these people that have made the theater what it is, but you've got to be awfully proud as a board member and as a thespian and as somebody who's been so very dedicated about where we are now. I mean, we have men's and women's restrooms that
right. So much of the renovation was so needed.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been on the board now for about 20 years, and I'm no longer young, and I'm having trouble just remembering your questions, much less my lines when I am in a play. But the renovations, if you've been to the theater pre-2022, it is not the same place. I think you came to our grand opening, and we spent a total of $1.8 million just on the inside of that building.
Yep.
Everything's been upgraded, and for those of you who remember, we had two basically closets for bathrooms. It's very small closets.
Incredible.
We now have everything is handicap accessible, a men's room, a women's room, and what's not shared anymore.
Right.
But when you get out to the front of the house, we were able to add seats, which was big. We now can seat about 150 people. We've actually stepped into the 21st century, and we've done some. Our reservation system is now online. You can actually pick your seat. You don't have to be there an hour early and fight for seats and try and save seats, which was frowned upon.
Right.
But now
Done, but
you
frowned
get
upon.
right. You get to pick your own seats, and it's online reservations. You can still call the box office. I mean, we're still going to help you if you can't navigate that. But it's just good to be able to become a real theater.
Right. And right here,
Look at that.
tickets on
Perfect.
sale now. Thank you very much, Aaron. Right now, you can see that there are certain tickets available. And as you bring that up, it's one of those things where, as we kind of close out this part, and we'll talk about the show a little later, but we are also, we had to make some changes because we weren't really filling the seats before.
Right. A couple things happened. In 2014, we probably had peaked out at almost 1,000 season ticket holders.
Right.
And then when, the economy got a little bit worse in Terrebonne Parish, we kind of got down to in the 600s.
Right.
And we dropped our performances from 10 per show down to 9, and then COVID.
Right.
And then Ida.
Right.
So when we reopened the theater 2 years ago, we were doing 8 performances for a show.
Right.
Thankfully, we quickly realized we needed to go to 9. And I'm telling you, if you try and go online, there's tickets available for this next show. But I think we're going to have to go up to 10 soon, because we have more seats, so that we have much more support from the residents of Terrebonne Parish. And it's really nice to see people come out that I have never seen before in my 20 years saying, hey, I heard about this theater downtown. Y'all are doing good things. And we wanted to come check it out.
Well, I know you're never going to take credit for it, but you and a lot of the people who are passionate about the theater are where we are because of you. So we're thankful for it, and we'll have you back on. We'll talk about this show.
Yes, sir.
All right, Steve, we appreciate it. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment. Don't go anywhere. A whole lot more Bayou time when we continue.
A social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
Hello, and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And, it's always good to have friends and colleagues on, especially those I've been knowing my entire life. Welcome back to the program, Steve Crispino. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Keith.
Absolutely. Now, being in a play is one thing, loving the theater, being on the board is another. But when you get to direct a play, especially one like The Odd Couple, that's got to be fun.
It is. I will tell you, this is only my second time directing on my own.
Right.
I do have an assistant director, but as far as me being the lead director,
right,
and it's a love-hate thing.
Sure.
I love it, but I really would rather be on stage. It's really easier to be on stage than it is to direct,
I tell people this all the time. It is easier for you and I to do this than what Aaron is doing in the production room.
Right.
Because he's got the job of 5 people.
Right.
And we just get to sit here and talk and have fun. And so very much the same thing, right? When you're having to direct people, especially maybe some young people who weren't really familiar or sure of who the original was, right?
You're right. I mean, it's my cast ranges in age from probably 35, 36 up to about 55. I kind of kept it in an age range because it's a group of friends.
Right.
And auditions, I asked who knew who The Odd Couple was, and several people did not. So I asked them, I'm sure there's some YouTube stuff, or maybe you're lucky enough to have seen it on TV Land or something, but
Right.
go and do just a little research. I don't like to watch a whole movie if the play's about a movie, but just get some context. Like if you don't know that Oscar was a slob and Felix was a neat freak, and now in the female version it's
right.
Olive and Florence.
Right.
Just go get a little bit of history.
Right.
That's all I can ask.
Exactly. So the only thing I guess I could tell you about this is that I am really looking forward to this because we at La Petite have done The Odd Couple, the male version, a couple of different times. And so interestingly enough, Glenn Gomez, God rest his soul, Glenn wanted me to play Felix. And I said, Glenn, no. He said, but Keith, you're so meticulous about your beard. I said, you're right, but that's the only thing I am meticulous about. And so it was just really, really interesting that as you as the director know about, it's really important to get the right people in the right places.
Casting is key. If it's not cast correctly, it will show on stage. And that's the one thing that we've talked about as a committee is I really believe that my cast is in the right places, playing the right parts. And if I can give a shout out to them, it's Danielle Marsheave, Kayla LeBlanc, Cindy Dewey, Lauren Brizendine, Thais DeFilo, Annette Blanchard, Scott Corville, and Nick Lapris.
Yeah, as I can see there, that wonderful version here of The Odd Couple, the female version. And again, an announcement of who they are. Again, just as a quote from the New York Post, for them to say that it's very funny, they are correct. And this, again, is by Neil Simon, who has done a number of the plays that we have done at La Petite. Because he's such a great screenwriter.
Yeah, and we've done a bunch of Neil Simon plays, and we're at that point now in the production where it's not funny anymore. It is, but not to us. So actually last week, even though they were still on book, I brought in 10 people.
Okay.
To train them on, you need to stop when people laugh because they're thinking it's not funny. Well, these 10 people laughed the whole show. But if you would have seen the energy that just those 10 people gave to my 8-person cast, I said, just think what it's like when 150 people are out there. Because I've got some people new to La Petite.
Okay.
Which is,
That's
people
wonderful.
have, it's the same actors on the stage all the time. Not this time. I've got a couple veterans, but I've got a lot of people who are there first or second time. And the energy they got, I can't wait for us to open next Friday, the 26th, and have those people in the audience really enjoying what we're trying to accomplish.
Right. And again, as we talked a little bit about, it's going to run from the 26th through
May the 5th.
Correct. And so you want to get your tickets, guys, because I can tell you, when we know that Danielle's in a show, we know that she's going to bring in some people.
She is.
She is one of my favorite people in general. She's certainly one of my favorite people to see on stage.
And one of the things as a director is you have to tell people about themselves a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I said, Danielle, you're going to be Olive, which was Oscar. She's like, why? I'm like, I just picture you as a little bit sloppy. I don't know why. Just take that for what it's worth. And I think you're going to be great. Florence, I said, you're a little uptight, and I like that about you. You're going to be the person that plays Florence, who is Felix. You have to be honest, and you have to tell people who are veterans or who are new, you have to critique them after each act, and it gets a little tough. I mean, I'm not trying to hurt feelings, I'm trying to build it, but we're trying to put on a show here. Mm-hmm. And they've all done a great job of accepting it and saying, you have to see it from the eyes of the audience, not from the eyes of the stage. And that gives them the perspective.
Yeah, and those 10 people coming in, I mean, listen, when you need to wait for laugh lines, you need to wait.
Yeah.
And based on what everybody has said, this is a funny production.
It is very funny, and I'm excited about it. It's we're going to have a dress rehearsal next Thursday that will probably be about half full, and I keep prepping them. You can't relax. We have 9 shows, 10 with dress. You can never relax. You read your lines every day. You develop your character until the day we open. You have to continue to. We are here to perform. That's what performers do.
Yep.
It's getting them in the mindset, but it's amazing the energy that you feel when that theater is full. You've done it, you've seen it, and it just, when the curtain comes up, not that we have a curtain, when the lights go up, it's a different feeling, and I want to do well.
Right. Speaking of, Aaron, put that up one more time. I want to let you know it is The Odd Couple, the female version. It runs from Friday, April 26th through Sunday, May 5th.
Correct.
And really excited about that. Steve, very excited about the theater, how far it's come. Congratulations on your second time directing on your own with a great staff. And so this 8-person team is going to be a fantastic group. We're already hearing really good things about it. So congratulations on
Thank
the
you,
front end.
Keith.
You got it. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment and this Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming right here on HTV.